traditionally, a neighborhood would be a physical, geographic distinction where there's some common elements around, I think, something about the physical structures, where the physical geography is also related. So it might be bounded by a particular set of streets, it might be bounded by a particular park. It might be that the certain services or use of that particular region is in common.
Bloor West Village is a neighborhood in West Toronto. It runs along the stretch of Bloor Street West between Jane and Runnymede. It's a family-oriented place with a mix of independent and chain stores, restaurants, and businesses. Our search for community began online, but we soon discovered there wasn't much of an online presence for Bloor West Village. A sparse Facebook page, a Twitter for the local community paper without local community news, a web page for the Residents Association 6 months out of date. There wasn't very much information, so how could we find people to talk to? And then we came across the Bloor West Village Business Improvement Association's website. It mentioned Pumpkin Fest, the annual Halloween festival.
Welcome to the Bloor West Village Pumpkin Festival!
So how did you find out about Pumpkin Festival?
Through reading the Snap newspaper. It's the community newspaper.
Basically from the posters that are in most of the shops along the street. We live in the area, we walk up and down the street every day, so if there's something that's posted, we're going to see it.
I found it actually through an online mums discussion group called West Toronto Families. Well, I guess it's for all family members, not just mums, but it's usually mums. It's actually a meetup group on meetup.com. So they post all sorts of neighborhood events on the website, and they also have independent meetup activities as well.
My friend works at Mendocino, and she's been telling me about it for 2 weeks.
We typed into Google events in Bloor West Village, and it actually took us a long time to actually find out, because we kept seeing the keywords show up, and then these websites were kind of sketchy. And then Shannon, finally, my wife, she finally found a website called Snap that actually detailed what this was about, because it wasn't really that clear when you typed it into some of the websites.
People were learning about neighborhood activities in a bunch of different ways. Newspapers, internet, posters. But there wasn't one central location. There wasn't an online neighborhood.
Everything around our technological development in the past, internet age, is tearing down some of those work-life boundaries. So since that's happening, I think bringing the idea of a neighborhood, the warmth that neighborhood implies to those relationships is a good thing. People using social networks, of course, cross lots of boundaries. I think there's some places where it might be a younger demographic. Here in Canada, it is crossing demographics.
I am on Facebook. I don't tend to find out much about the neighborhood on it, though. There is a local newspaper, The Villager, and that lists a lot of community events, so I find out some things there. I'm not on Twitter, so I don't use that.
I guess I rely on the newspapers. I'm one of the few people left that actually reads a newspaper, I suppose. But even with the local events here, we pick up the Bloor West Village Snap.
We're internet people. We don't even have TV at home, because we do the TV on the internet thing. We're that kind of, I think that's my wife and I are like that generation. And she watches her shows from the internet too and stuff. And so we find it out through typing it into search engines and newspaper, media websites and stuff like that. Obviously, I know you're talking about social media. If someone types in, a friend of ours types in on Facebook, going to the such and such fair today, my kids are driving me crazy, then you're like, oh, what are they doing? And then you go do that sort of thing too. So we're definitely internet people, for sure.
The internet, a tool for finding an endless supply of information. But is it really bringing us closer together?
Pulling together the traditional sense of a neighborhood. As well, I think technology is both isolating at the same time that it's unifying. And one of the ways it's isolating might be less reasons to bump into the people across the street who you aren't in a social network for. So in some sense, it's replacing the physical.
It doesn't seem like Bloor West Village is taking full advantage of these new platforms.
If they had a Bloor West Village official site, and then they're like, okay, this is what's going on here, and here's the street, then I could be like, okay, I know that. And then in the junction, let's say the junction has something going on. Here's the junction's official site and the official thing. You know, rather than like kind of like a central thing, it just seems like everything's spread out. You know, it's kind of like the events, so it's harder to find that way. I prefer like a geographical thing, because the bottom line is I have so many kids. Sometimes I don't feel like getting in the car. I just want to go for a walk, so that would be really helpful.
The website that currently does exist doesn't have very interesting or current information on it. So if there were a site that provided current information, or even if there were an email that you could sign up to get an email newsletter that lets you know, hey, here's our latest events that are going on this week or this month, then I'd certainly sign up for something like that. But the existing site doesn't do anything.
Most people are using the internet, but they're also relying on other traditional media to find out what's going on in Bloor West Village. Social networking sites like Facebook, Twitter, and parent groups are linking members, but a single central location for all things Bloor West Village is still missing. Even as technology changes, there is still the desire for face-to-face interaction. It's not isolating the community, it's bringing it closer together.